One sunny morning, my mom woke up. She couldn't find me anywhere. She checked in my bedroom, she checked in the family room, the kitchen, and I was nowhere to be found. After about 15 minutes of searching, she began to freak out because I was only 5 years old at the time, so she had wondered where I wandered off to. My dad said, "Leanne, did you check outside?" My mom thought to herself, "I haven't checked outside," so she looked out the back door and I was not out there. My dad looked towards the barn door, and there I was on my horse named Splash. I'd been riding in my footy pajamas with my messy hair. My dad yelled, "Macy, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just riding my horse. Isn't it so great?" I had always loved horses. I've loved horses ever since I was born. I've been raised around horses. Was raised on a ranch. There's 25 grandkids, and we all ride horses, and we all train and own our own horses. My dad has taught me all about horses, and my love for horses has only grown since I've gotten older. I've literally been riding horses since the day after I was born. My parents took me to the state fair where my aunt was performing about 3 days after I was born. So that was pretty cool. In high school, I gave riding lessons each week, and I taught the kids the importance of horses. I taught them the safety. I taught them the different things that they needed to know about horses. I was in 4-H for 12 years, and as I was taught the proper ways of riding and the proper ways to handle horses. I showed horses for those 12 years, and I loved it. I ran barrels and traveled around Colorado, where I competed in different events. Now that I've graduated from 4-H, I've been a leader for 2 years, and I've helped with the younger kids. I've taught them the safety of riding horses. I've taught them the different things that they've needed to know about horses. I feel that this topic is significant because someday I bet that all of your kids will love to ride horses, so I think that you need to know about this. That way you know a little bit about horses. I feel like there's many reasons or many different ways that we can cope with things that we're going through in our lives. And my way is when I get sad or get down, I ride horses. I feel like that really helps me get through those tough times in my life. You can overcome a lot of life struggles. I had a friend who was having a really, really tough time, and her parents were about to be divorced, and they were just fighting a lot, and a lot of big things were happening in her life. As she began to get really depressed and stuff, she asked me how I dealt with a bunch of my problems, and I explained to her that I rode horses. I feel like when you're on the horse's back, you can really just forget about everything that's happening and just really focus on getting better and focus on yourself, basically. She overcame a lot of things in those few months that she began riding with me. She started feeling a lot better about herself and felt like she was really progressing. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is why horses can be your best friends. I feel like there's many reasons that a horse can be your best friend. I feel like they can help you get through a lot of tough times in your life. The second thing I'm going to talk about is what are the importance of horses. The third is the different breeds of horses that we will come across. The fourth is the different types of things that you need to ride horses. There's bridles and saddles and stuff like that. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the basics of riding a horse. In my final draft of this speech, I plan on being in a barn with the horses and really being able to show you how to saddle the horses and the different things that you need. As I start out this speech, I know that a lot of people are afraid of horses, and that's hard for me to understand because I've just been raised around them and I've never really experienced the afraid part. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. I know that for a fact. There's a lot of times that my dad has put me on a horse that I really just don't feel confident on. I don't feel like I can ride him or her, and I don't feel like I can do much on her. But with my experience, I know that I can. My dad has never put me on a horse that's badly hurt me. I've got bucked off a lot, but he's never put me on one that's hurt me really bad. With each person, everyone's in a different riding level. Just like learning levels, there are riding levels as well. And there's horses equipped for those riding levels. So first, I think that when I was younger, I had a horse. His name was Bullet, and he would just do whatever I wanted him to do. And then I got Splash, and Splash would just do anything as well. He had a little bit more life, so when I kicked him, he would actually go and not just go to a walk. And then I had a little Shetland that's name was Clown. He was one of my best friends. He was just tiny, and I just could get on him and ride him all the time. Horses do have a mind of their own. That's one thing that people are really afraid of. But the thing is we have our own minds as well, and so the horses, if you really just focus on them and you really just try to get them to do what you want them to do, they normally will do it. Growing up, I had so many different horses, like I had mentioned before. My dad would give I would get a horse and just love this horse and really start connecting with this horse, and then my dad would give the horse to my little sister, and I would be really upset and sad about it. And then I would start over with a new horse, but that really helped me with my riding level. I feel like that I really was able to progress with that and was able to become a better rider because of that. Horses can be sweet and comforting. Sometimes it's hard to know that because a horse, everyone tells you these secrets. Oh, I don't know, all these things, these people have been bucked off a horse, they've been hurt really bad, but all the same pertains to motorcycles and four-wheelers and car accidents and everything like that. So that's one thing. A horse is not going to tell anyone your secrets. You can really talk to them and vent to them, and they're not going to say anything. If you've had a stressful day, you can talk to your horse, or even just go out and ride and you will feel better. There are many different types of horses. Now I'm going to go into the different breeds. Some of the top ones that we may know are quarter horse, paint horse, Appaloosa, warm blood, Mustang, thoroughbred, Morgan. Those are kind of the top ones that I'm going to cover today, because the other ones, there's just so many different breeds, just like dogs. There's a bunch of different breeds of horses. So the kind of horses that my family raises is quarter and paint horse. Those are the two that we have just grown up riding. Those horses are known for like sprinting really quickly. Their endurance is pretty good. They're meant to do like cattle work and stuff like that. Their bodies are built lower to the ground than some of the other horses like warm bloods or Morgan horses or Appaloosas. They're built a little bit lower to the ground so that they can really maneuver their body. The second type is a warm blood. The warm blood horses are meant for racing, just like the thoroughbred and the warm blood are similar. And then the Morgan horses are the big ones that you see prancing in the ring and doing the different things like that. So those are some of the different breeds, and they're all used for very different things. Each of these breeds can be used for something different, but at the same time, every horse is a horse. You can ride these horses, and they can really help you get over tough times. Okay, next I'm going to talk about some of the different types of tack that is needed when riding a horse. The first type is you need a saddle. So there's either the English saddle or the Western saddle. Those are the two that I'm most familiar with. The English saddle is really small, and like I said in the final video, I will be able to show you the English saddle and the Western saddle and those different types of things. The English saddle is small. It's got very thin stirrups so that you're able to really, really be connected with that horse and be close to that horse. Those are meant for jumping. And then the next saddle is the Western saddle. The Western saddle is the one that I ride the most. I've only rode the English about 50 times in my life, and I've rode a horse a lot more than that. The Western saddle is the one that we probably are the most familiar with. It's got the big saddle horn, the big wells, the big back seat, and there's a bunch of different variations of Western saddles as well. Okay, so next is a bridle. So that's the thing that goes in their mouth and goes over their head. The bridle is something that we use to control the speed of the horse or control which way we want them to turn. There's a lot of different bits that we can put in a horse's mouth. They usually start out in an O or D ring, so that's something real, not severe. That way we can teach them what the pressure of the bit is. And then they move into like a tom thumb, which is a little bit more severe, and then go into the straight bit. So each of those, the straight bit has like a chain on the bottom, which is called the chin chain. And when you pull on the bit, it tightens up under the chin, and that way the horse feels the pressure and will stop. There's different riding apparel that you can use. For the English, you probably have noticed it's like a black coat with some like tan pants and some like leathers here in between the knees so that you're able to grip onto that saddle and hold onto that horse. And then you also wear a helmet in English. And then the next is like just the Western apparel. So that's what I normally go as. So that's just jeans. Jeans are used so that you don't get leg sores or you don't get calf sores. Also, the long sleeve shirt is used. I really just ride in pretty much anything that I have, but the correct Western apparel is a long shirt so that your arms don't get scratched if you do get bucked off or anything like that. And then the cowboy hat as well. Okay, the last thing is the basics of riding a horse. So each horse is different and just really depends on the trainer, how the horse is trained, and which trainer and how they trained them. So there are different ways that we should position our feet. Our toes should always be pointed in with our heels down. And that just depends. That's in the Western saddle, so toes in, heels down. And then you really should roll your body, and especially bottom, into the seat and put your shoulders back straight. And then your arms should be in a parallel, and you should always hold the reins with your left hand, and then you should be sat up straight and always kind of leaned back a little bit. That way, if the horse was to bolt or something like that, you would be prepared for whatever. The other different types is the way you use your hands and stuff like that. Some people are really hard-handed, which that just makes the horse's mouth a lot harder. So if you just use light hands and pull soft, then that normally the horse will respect that. You get the horse to move opposite. So if I were to squeeze with my left leg, the horse would move to the right. If I were to squeeze with my right leg, the horse would move to the left. And then when I back, I just do it real lightly and talk to the horse and say back, 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 and he normally will tuck his bottom and back. There are different things when you want to go into a canter or lope. You squeeze and roll your body back so the horse can feel that you're wanting to go forward. When you want to stop, you want to roll your body into the seat and sit back so the horse feels that weight on its back moving to the backwards. There's safety while riding and while mounting as well. Mounting, you need to make sure that you have a hold of the reins when you get on. That's a big importance so the horse doesn't bolt or jump or anything like that. So I hope you guys have learned a little bit about horses and the different important things. Today I've spoke about why horses can be great best friends. I've also spoke about the different types of horses and what they're used for. I've also spoke about the different types of tack and also the different basics riding styles. Just remember that if you're ever feeling down or if you ever need a pick-me-up, then a horse can make your day better. They really can be your best friends. And also remember, if you have kids and you can't find them, they're probably out on their horse in their footy pajamas with messy hair. Thanks for listening.